I'd like to call the order the Parks Board meeting for Monday, January 22nd, 2018. I have citizens' comments. Mr. Hughes, come up to the. Hey, Mike, how you doing, buddy? Long time no see, man. No, I'm doing well. State your name, please. All righty. Go right ahead, sir. Oh. We've got a pro.
There it is.
There we go.
Right there.
All right, sir. Now then, state your name and go right ahead, sir.
Mike Hughes. I have a son in the Civitan baseball program, and I've learned I've seen all the things that I need to see, and for years I have seen what I would consider an unfair baseball setup situation there, okay? And I finally have the ability, or have the courage to get up in front of you guys and talk to you about what's really going on there, okay? So what is going on is, in my humble opinion, they have made this rule, and this rule is that you're able to keep 6 of the, now these are coaches that are in the know, they're able to keep 6 of the best players, okay, on to the next year, which keeps them out of being able to be picked from coaches that haven't been able to keep 6 players on the roster, okay? So what this sets up is, it sets up a situation to where you have some stacked teams for coaches that are in the know, and you have these teams that are completely horrible. My son last year was on a 9 and 10-year-old team. He happened to be on one of those stacked teams, okay? And when we were playing these teams that were horrible, I mean, it was not fun as a parent to sit there and watch this slaughter continue. And it happened 3 or 4 times, and quite frankly, it puts those coaches in a position to have people putting people that shouldn't even be playing infield to be playing infield. And when you go against those really good teams that can kill the baseball, and I'm surprised somebody hasn't gotten really bad hurt, because we're really putting people into unsafe situations there. And I don't know how to solve this problem. I've tried to talk with Civitan about this, and I think it was Mr. Winfrey, and he said that he doesn't think Civitan's ever going to change this because they seem to be okay with the way things are right now. And I guess if your son's always on a really good team, why would you want to change it, right? And I think that's what's going on here. But at the end of the day, there's taxpayers that pay for these fields. And in return for paying for these fields, the taxpayers fully expect to have a fair and just baseball system in return for paying for these fields. And it is clear to me that that is not what's going on. Okay, so here's how to fix it. We can fix it real quickly by, instead of letting these coaches keep these 6 great players that they covet and just go down to 2, okay? Because I think a coach should be able to keep his son on his own team to coach, okay? That's fair enough to me. And that frees up a lot of players to be picked evenly and dispersed evenly around all the teams. And that makes it a more competitive league, a more fair league. And I can't tell you how many parents that I talked to last year that are so upset about what's going on there. There was a new pastor that came here 3 years ago for the Church of Christ. His son has been put on a losing team, and he's got a talented son. And I can't believe nobody's tried to capture him. His son has gotten his brains beat out for 3 years now. And I don't understand why, and he's completely put out by it. That's his first impression of Hendersonville. That's the first thing I want you guys to address. Number 2, last year my son was on the 10-year-old all-star team, and we had a few rogue coaches come in there, and they poached most of the good players and created their own travel baseball team right before the all-star tournament. So the 10-year-old all-star tournament was forced to take what was left over, and we persisted to go out there and got our brains beat out all over Nashville. Okay? This should not be going on. I mean, I challenge you guys to fix these things, because we have a bloody nose. We don't look good out there to Nashville when your all-star teams go out there and get killed. It's not fun to everybody involved. And that's all I came here to say, and I hope you guys will fix it. Thank you.
You've addressed the right people. Thank you very much, and you've been heard, sir. Thank you. Mr. Gibson? Once again, state your name, sir.
All right, Sheldon Gibson.
Yes, sir.
So I sit on the Civitan Baseball Committee, and I just want to clear up a couple of things that were stated earlier. Every year, anytime a child enters an age division for their first time, then they become what's known as eligible for the draft, right? And that happens every time that child enters an age division. So my son, who's now 10, when he was 9, he went into what's known as a 10U draft. When he was 9, he was eligible for that draft. His second year, this year, because he's already on a team, he doesn't participate in the draft. And as a coach in each age division, there's a maximum of up to 4 that can be protected, not 6. 8U, it's actually 3 that can be protected. 10U, it's actually 3, but your son or daughter doesn't count against that protection, and 12U, it's 4. So once that child is on a team, then they're on that team again that second year. They're not protected again that second year. They're just on that team again that second year. Also, when a child enters the program, when they do enroll into the program, we don't make them sign a contract or anything. There's no team fine that they have to play if they decide to leave the program early, before a tournament or anything like that. It's an open league, right? It's open participation league. So those are 2 things I want to address for you today.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
All right, sir, I need the approval of the minutes for last meeting. Mr. White, Mr. Head, second. All in favor say aye. 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 All opposed? Good job. Under financial reports, Senior Softball League.
I believe that's me.
That would be you. What's up, buddy?
Oh, not much. Good to see everybody again. I'm
Roy
Roy Depew.
What are you like 160 years old?
I was going to comment on that here in a minute. I feel like it sometimes.
That's all right, man.
You know, I've been playing ball up here for 43 years on these fields, and if the good Lord's willing and the surgeons keep replacing parts and fixing things, I'll play a lot more.
That boy.
But I want to take a minute and thank you all, especially the board and more importantly the staff, for a great job on our sports complex. You've done a good job over the years, and I just wanted to take a minute. I know you don't get many complaints, so I just wanted to compliment you on that. Right, Brandon? Yeah, thank you.
Brandon appreciates it.
Yeah, I know he does. Yeah. All right, financial report for the Senior League. We have the numbers you're seeing, the $19,956 fees, that makes up the summer division, summer league, and the fall. So that's both lumped into one there. There were 12 teams in the summer, and there were 4 teams in the fall, various ages. We have a 45 division, 56, and a 67 plus. In fact, I think our oldest player last year was about 87, as I recall. It wasn't me, so. So our financials are pretty clear. We've got the $453 were spent on uniforms, and that's because we do redraft teams just about every year to keep this thing evenly matched. And so we buy shirts and sometimes ball caps. The equipment is simply made up of softballs for both summer and fall. The city maintenance fees, I think Keith called me and said he made you folks some notes on how the fees are structured. I think ours are a little different. Ours combine the fields and the umpires, and that was $15,000 for both divisions, or both summer and fall. And then the scorekeepers, we pay $3,090, and then we had some bank fees for our checkbook for roughly 53. So we netted for the year $112. So that was pretty much our financials for the year. You guys have any questions? We're pretty simple.
I don't have any questions.
All right.
We appreciate you, Roy.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
And I want to make a statement. We have one, and Roy knows more about this than I do, but he does a really good job working with Keith and has for many years. We have one of the only senior softball leagues, and who knows where. So you know more about it than I do, but I mean, it's a great league, and we're very grateful that you guys keep it going, because I think it's
We've
great.
had it a long
great-
time.
Yeah.
I started here, it was going about 3 or 4 years before me, and I started at age 50. Now I'm 71. You've got a few teams out of Jackson and a couple out of Knoxville, but we're it for Tennessee.
Okay, thank you.
Sure proud of you, buddy. Sure
Thank
proud
you.
of you. Inline hockey.
Hey guys, my name's Danny Guy, and I'm standing in for Paul Caruth.
Who?
Danny Guy. You know who I am.
Danny? Good
It's been a long time since I've seen you two. I think it's all there pretty self-explanatory. If you got any questions, I'll try to answer them. If not, I'll find out the answer. Paul his son had a game tonight, so he asked me to fill in,
No problem.
and it is a mess over there. It looks awful.
It will look better.
I know.
Trust me.
It's coming, right?
It's coming. It'll be good.
Can you skate? No, don't worry. I'm just kidding.
I can, and my kid's been involved since he was 8 years old, and we're excited about the new rinks, and we're excited about Mary's Magical Kingdom coming over there. I think it's going to be great. So it will look better. Just give it a little bit of time, right, Brandon?
That's right. It does look like a bomb went off, but that's okay. I did have one comment. I don't have a question for Danny, but I don't know if this includes it. I just want to make it known that it may be listed in the improvements.
Hold on, Brandon, 1 second. Do we have any questions of him first? No, I'm sorry.
thank
Go
you.
ahead, sir.
Well, no, I may or may not. I just wanted to make it known that the hockey group on this current project that I'll go into a little more in depth shortly on my report, they're contributing $12,500 out of their account. I don't think that, now, that may have already been taken out of here somewhere. I'm not sure. So I don't think it has been.
It has not.
So, but I think that money hasn't got to be paid out now. So they've still got registration fees to collect, sponsorships to collect. So they have, in kind, will be donating $12,500 towards the overall project, which was a $149,000 project. So I just want to throw that out there. So I know obviously their bottom line, their net went down, obviously was in the negative, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Not to overshadow that, but I just want everybody to know that.
Thank you, Mr. Guy.
Thank you.
Good to see you again, buddy. Lacrosse.
Good evening.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon. My name's Greg Mitchell. I'm with the Sumner Lacrosse Association. As most of you know, we are the club organization for the county's high school and middle school kids, for those who want to play lacrosse. All of our kids come from all the schools here in the area, the public schools, including Hendersonville Christian Academy, Aaron Academy, and we have a few kids from Goodlettsville, as well as a few homeschool families. This year's financials are pretty much reflective of the growth of the team, the association. Last year was the first year we added a team. We added a boys' middle school team, and we had 20 boys from all over the area, and I think one fifth grader. They played 10 games and lost all 10 games, but they had a ball. And they had so much fun that I think we graduated 7 or 5, and we added 8 more. So this will be the second year of our boys' middle school team, and they're excited. They're all ready to go. Altogether, we have about 81 players between the boys, high school girls, and middle school boys. Surprisingly, we have more girls this year than we've ever had. I think we've got about 36, 37 high school girls that are signed up to play lacrosse. So that's never happened before. Usually we're top heavy on the boys' side and a little lighter on the girls' side. But we have a great coach, and they have a lot of fun, and I think we're just glad to see this thing keep going here. This is our 10th year of operation. As far as our financials, our equipment, uniforms, balls, nets, we have 5 goals, I believe, 3 at Drakes Creek and 2 at Memorial, and so we replace our nets every so often, lacrosse balls, mouth guards. Our parents are appreciative of that. They don't like paying dental bills for, our kids. But I'm open to answer any questions if you have any.
All right, sir. Questions? Ms. Ted?
What's the $3,900 in professional fees?
Yes, our coaches. Lacrosse is is one of these sports that is still relatively new to the South, Tennessee in particular. We pay our coaches about $1,000 per coach for their expertise, and we're on the low end of things. But to answer your question, those are just the stipends for our coaches. We have 2 girl coaches that both one played Division III lacrosse, the other played Division II lacrosse.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hendersonville Soccer?
My name's Todd Szymanski. As you'll notice in the financials, there's 2 sets in there, one being from January 1st to December 31st. Another set that might be crossed off that we kind of included in there is really from June 1st to December, which when we had a changeover with our board and we addressed different things and issues that were going on. So that's why you'll see different sets of numbers in there. I don't know if anyone has any questions on anything.
Go ahead. No.
Mr. White?
I just have one question, just to get this out to the public.
Right.
Is you have a little over $8,000 in park improvements, and I would like to give you an opportunity to tell us what those are and let people know how you guys are putting back into the parks, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah, you talking about the 8,844?
Correct.
Yeah, that's just sharing with the Tennessee United also does too. Sports turf and pro solutions, updating the fields, fertilizer, and stuff like that.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Civitan Baseball?
That's the overall. And each one's after this.
I'm Rob Winfrey, the treasurer for Civitan. I've got several sheets here. The top sheet is basically the summary sheet of all of our programs, but then I've got each program broken down for the individual ones. We run the Spring Baseball League, we run the Flag Football League, the Football League in the fall, and then the Girls Slow Pitch Softball League. Just to hit, I'm just kind of hit the summary of on the first page. We took in about $213,000 last year and had expenses around $208. Mr. Long had asked a question I just wanted to clarify, because there's a difference in the account balance at the end of the year and what is in the checking account. And that's because they open up our flag sign-ups early. They'll open them up like in October. So those registrations go into our checking account, but they're really for this year's flag football. So I have that amount put towards it'll be on the next year's flag. I just wanted to be clarify on that. Also, just kind of hit a couple of things. We do try to give back to the park quite a bit. We also try to give back to our community. In our parks, we helped put in new scoreboards at Veterans Park. We also refreshed some of the items in the concession stands, put in a couple of warmers, helped on an ice maker. We put in a tone of about $12,000 back into the park and things of that nature. But we also are a community program. We have several different things that we do for the community every year. For Thanksgiving, we find some families that are within our programs to try to, maybe have fell on hard times or something like that, try to help them out by giving food donations and gift cards to make sure they have a good Thanksgiving. We also sponsor families for Christmas to make sure that the family, the kids, they all have a good Christmas. We work with Miss Hamblin. She does the breakfast or lunch with Santa. We pay for those items, the pizza, the Santa, everything. We try to take that financial burden off of her. And this year we actually, it was a little boy in our program, been there a long time. He had heart failure. It was a very odd situation. It was he had been with us a long time, and it was quite scary because my son is the same age as him, and they thought they was just going for the flu, and all of a sudden he's in congestive heart failure in Vanderbilt Hospital. So we did fundraising for him to help the family, with their medical bills. Brandon was kind enough to let us have a game to have people come out and help sponsor the young man. So we try to do our best to try to help the community as well.
Thank you, sir. Question? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
And appreciate what you do, by the way.
Thank you.
Girls fast pitch.
You all should have a handout on this. And Pam, you can check. This is all I have. Did you have something else? Okay, and maybe you all have that, because I don't have.
think I got any.
Oh, never mind. I stand corrected.
Good evening, I'm Pam Kemp with Hendersonville Fast Pitch League. We had a pretty typical year this year. We had our sales, total revenue less some of the commission stuff, as the concession stuff. As you see, it was $62,466. And our total expenses were $49,967, and we netted $12,499. Our revenue in the concession stand was up a little bit this year from last year. The park's busy. The concession stand is very busy, so it was a busy year for us.
Questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I do want to say one thing, and I'm not sure where you guys are going with this, but I think this might be Pam's last time to come and give these numbers.
I think you might be right.
And I'll go into that a little bit later in the meeting. But I want to thank you personally. She's been a huge help to our park system, as you all know, for many, many years, a lot longer than I've been around here. So she, as you can see here, with not a huge budget, that's a pretty good bottom line. So for fast pitch. So I'll go into more detail later, but I do want to thank you and Neil and for everything you've done.
You're very
for the
welcome.
park. I really do
We've
appreciate
enjoyed it. It's been a true blessing to our family.
I know you're not going away, but I know
No.
we'll see you. But I just want to thank you.
And again, whoever we need to help and whatever we need to do, we'll do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, old business. Volunteer, is that Arrowhead? That's
Yes, sir.
Arrowhead.
Yes.
Oh, what?
Volunteer Park at Arrowhead.
Oh, okay, I just misunderstood there, I guess.
That's okay. Yeah, Volunteer Park, Phase 2, kind of where we are with that since we've last met. We last met in September. The project was bid out. The bids came in way over budget, to say the least. So what we've done is I went back with the engineering firm to the drawing table. We essentially didn't scale the building down, but we scaled down some of the features. It's still a block building with a brick exterior, but there were some other things with sewer and things that have to be done that we've changed, and we've revised the bid specs. I actually have a pre-bid meeting tomorrow, and then the new bid, we were rebidding the project, will be February the 8th. So we're okay on time. We have until the middle of 2019 actually to complete the project, because the state kind of drug their feet on getting us stuff, because it's a grant process. This is the LPRF grant. So with that being said, we're in the middle of that process still, so hoping our revisions, we've met with a couple contractors who actually bid on it, who was really high, and they had some really good ideas to drop the numbers, and we're hoping that comes in when it's rebid at a better number. So that's kind of where we are on that.
Very nice. Questions?
And
Thank you for that report on volunteer park at Arrowhead.
I'm sorry?
I said thank you for that report on volunteer park
Yes.
at Arrowhead.
One more thing that's not
Is
part
this
of the.
about Arrowhead as
Yes,
well?
it is,
Okay,
actually.
go ahead.
We actually are moving, you'll see, we actually have had the old playground beside the inline hockey rinks removed to get ready for Mary's Magical Place, and they got it off-site to Volunteer Park, and we're going to have it reset over at Volunteer and build a playground there. So we're able to keep that play set, because that's about a $20,000 to $25,000 piece of play set, and so we'll have it reset. Obviously, we had to pay a company to jackhammer it up and reset it, but it's money well spent, and so they're going to probably start tomorrow putting that up, and then we'll finish it up in house with the borders and the fall height with mulch and everything. So it'll be nice to have that over there for kids to play on while siblings are playing soccer.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Under old business, Mary's Magical Playground, Mr. Rogers.
Well, we're getting closer. We are, playground equipment should be on site March 19th. So we're pretty close. It's been ordered. We have, many people have gotten involved in this project. There's a lot of moving parts to it. But we're very happy with the people that's gotten involved. Lots of donations with engineering firms to construction companies to construction management. So we're very appreciative of these folks doing this. We've got a set of plans that I will send to you in due time from the engineers, which I think you've seen a few float around, but I'll send those to you. But our plan right now is to have a tentative groundbreaking probably in late February. We don't want to break ground too fast and create which we don't have to do a whole lot of excavation. It's basically taking the topsoil off the site because it's flat. But we'll do a groundbreaking in probably late February, and obviously you all will get an email on that. And then hopefully, according to the construction company, the committee, the playground committee, the Rotary, did decide to do a turnkey project, which what that means is they're paying a company to come in and build the playground and set the equipment. Now, there's other things that will go on with concrete work and other stuff that will be in kind. So, but according to them, as soon as it's on the ground, they'll be on site putting it in. So but there's some drainage to do before then. So it's moving along, and I'll keep you all updated as with groundbreakings and anything that we've got to do. But it's obviously going to happen because the equipment will be here, and the money raised. I think last I spoke with the committee, they had raised $862,000, and the city has $130,000 of bond money, thanks to the board. So we're talking about $1 million project. So it's going to be quite a showpiece for the city. So
Nice.
Proud to be a part of it.
Questions? You did good. Under new business, inline hockey resurfacing, Mr. Rogers.
Well, as most people can see, and Danny mentioned, it looks like a bomb has went off at Veterans Park. New surfacing was ordered several weeks ago. It's supposed to ship January 31st. January 31st was the ETA I was given on the new surfacing. We've had a company go in, take the old boards down, and our guys took the old surfacing out. We did that in-house. We cleaned the surfacing in-house. And then we're going to, and the difference is we're putting this surfacing underneath the boards. Before, the old surfacing, it went to the edge of the boards, and the boards had gotten deteriorated, and skates and were getting hung in the corners and pucks, and it was in a pretty bad shape, honestly, and, well, really bad shape, just to be quite honest. So this time, we had a company come in and create shims for the boards, and so the surfacing will go underneath the boards. There'll be a smooth transition. And the surfacing itself will be the first surface like this in the state of Tennessee. It's what they play the world inline outdoor hockey championships on. It's made in Georgia, so it's a pretty cool product. Made in Dalton, Georgia, where all the carpet's made. I guess they make everything down there. So and then once the surfacing in, they'll put the boards up and put it all right back together. And we're looking at hopefully tentatively third week of February to be complete. We'd hoped earlier than that, but that's our tentative date. With weather's going to play a huge part in it. So that's so we're looking forward to it for sure.
Okay. Questions? Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Special projects.
There was a few things we had in the budget for special projects. These are some of the things I was in my regular budget. I want to give you an update on. One of those is the quad. We had put $10,000 in to update the upstairs of the softball quad, and it looks really, really good. Our guys have done a lot of work in-house. We've had new countertops put up there, all new paint, new flooring started today. We have new tile flooring going in. We're upgrading some of the bathrooms downstairs, upgraded the HVAC in the upstairs. It was in shambles. And so we're really looking forward to that. We host a lot of college coaches up there for tournaments, and just a lot of people in general use that facility, from high school baseball, softball, to a lot of people see it, and it needed some attention. Mm-hmm. And so it looks really, really good. I'll shoot out some pictures when it's completely finished. That was one of the projects. Another project was tennis courts, which obviously those were done back in July. That was part of the money. We got $25,000 to build another storage building in our maintenance shop. We needed more storage. We've got more equipment, more trailers, more mowers. So the lumber for that actually has been delivered tomorrow. So we'll have a nice new building to kind of, if you notice our maintenance shop, we have kind of 3 sides. This will complete the 4th side and kind of going to close that in. And it'll be, it's going to be bigger than the other buildings. So a lot of room. We'll be able to park bigger equipment in there, and so we're excited about that. And then we're in the process of we're going to redo the fishing dock, or the boat dock at Mallard Point. It is in really bad shape, and we're putting all new ParksBoard composite down, and then we've got 2 new jet ski lifts that are down there. Those are broken and not in working order, so we're redoing all that, and we're just kind of waiting on some weather to break before we can get in there, which I think it finally has. So that's an update on those few projects we've got going on.
Thank you, sir. Questions? We're all quiet tonight. Remote lighting, Mr. Rogers.
As you all know, I mentioned last year, we put the remote lighting at Veterans Park. We can turn the athletic field lights on via computer or our phones. Earlier this fiscal year, we had that done at Drakes Creek for all the baseball, softball fields, and the football field. So that's worked out really, really good. We can set them every day, and we don't have to worry about an employee getting hung up in traffic, which happens, and then people are calling us and are wondering, why ain't the lights on? And it's not their fault, but it's just happened. So we've got it now electronically. We can do it. It's a cell system, a wireless system, not Wi-Fi based, but cellular based. So my intention is to actually put the money in. Soccer is going to cost the most because soccer has the old disconnect type lighting. So my intention is to put the money for soccer and do all of that in this next fiscal year. So we'll have soccer as well, and then we won't have to pay anybody to go show up and turn lights on. It'll all be done remotely. So it's been a big help.
Y'all need to check the computer. Y'all been turning the lights off in my bathroom.
They can do it. They can do it. This company, the company who does it actually started in the billboard business, doing billboards. The lights comes on billboards at night, and they shut off at daylight. And so that's how they got into this. And So it's worked out good for us. So far, so good.
I thought you were doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Field rental fee provision, Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me get back here to it somewhere. I know it's in here. Okay. I know you've read through this.
Sorry.
Well, we need to listen to that. We ain't talking anymore. Go ahead.
We can all sing.
You can let it play all you want. Don't put it on vibrate.
Well, then I'll just hold on. No.
Hey, don't you say a word. I see you down there.
That should be embarrassing, but it's not. I don't know why.
I'm not going to read over this. Field rental fee. A few years ago, we went through this with the field rental fees. I've spoken with Coach Gilly, who's here tonight. He's involved in this and tournaments, and Civitan crew who's here tonight. Mr. Patati, who's in Tennessee United representative. So we spoke about this at length. I was given some information, and we kind of had a meeting, and so this is kind of what we feel like is reasonable. I've listed those reasons on this form. We want each group to partner with Civitan, or if it's Tennessee United bringing in an outside group or Fast Pitch or whoever it is, we want those folks to benefit. So what we're running into is they're paying our city fees, and our field fees was very competitive. But when you partner, they have the partnership fee, the field fees start getting expensive. When you pay not only a field fee, but you pay a per team fee to that Civitan group or the Fast Pitch or whoever. So we felt like this would help our groups. And at the end of the day, for me personally and from a Parks Director standpoint, if they weren't giving money back to the park, I would be real hesitant, but you guys are approving it, not me. But they give money back. As you can see in the numbers, they're giving money back. So it's indirectly going back to us. So they're really very, very helpful for that, whether it's Hendersonville High School or Civitan, soccer, both soccer groups, it doesn't matter. So that's kind of where this come from. There's a couple things on here that I added that would help us as a staff, and I want to explain why. The daily rate field rentals. We don't make a habit of renting out baseball or softball fields or the football field or the hockey rinks. We don't make a habit of that. Because as these guys will tell you, all of them, there's no time during the season. They're mad because they don't have enough time as it is. They're frustrated. So these are for times when, say, a late July, when their teams want to have a tryout, and they want to come rent a field at night for an hour and a half of some just random team, or if it's in late October or even early November if the weather's nice enough. So we get hit with that, and so now we can actually have a process where they have to come in, they can fill out the paperwork or do it, via our website. We'll get that figured out, and then they can pay the fee and have the field. And again, we don't have to go down there and turn the lights on because we can just do it remotely. So that's where those daily rates come in, and you'll see it under the baseball and softball, you'll see it under soccer, and you'll see it under inline hockey. So just some clarity on that.
Okay. Questions?
The daily rates where you say it's just an outside group, does that get scheduled directly through the park staff? It has nothing to do with the group?
The daily?
The daily.
That would be something. They contact us. For example, we've got a group of adults that play hockey, and we want to help them. There's a lot of downtime. Danny will tell you there's some downtime at hockey. They want to play hockey. He probably knows some. He may play himself. So they hit us up, and then, we're like, well, have you talked to the hockey group? No, I didn't talk to the hockey group. Well, we want to rent out the hockey rinks and go play for 2 hours on a Sunday night or not Sunday, but a Wednesday night. Okay, well, now we have a fee structure for that, and we can actually, and we'll create some we reserve fields now to our adult softball teams that play in our league, but they don't pay because they're already paying a fee, so we just reserve, so we already have forms. Well, this is just an avenue for us to kind of clean some of that up, so we can have, that way we can tell them, okay, well, you can rent a field, but it's going to be this much for this much time under the lights.
Okay.
Under soccer fees, I know there's some school teams that will occasionally play in the park.
There is.
How's that addressed?
Well, the only school team is HHS. HHS plays on field 11, soccer field 11, and they pretty much take care of themselves.
Right.
They take care of trash, they take care of the maintenance, they take care of the fertilization. That's Russ Plummer's baby, you know that. So Russ does a great job. The only other schools that play on the soccer fields, occasionally, the middle schools will have some tryouts, and we let those folks have tryouts. If it's like November or wherever it may be, they say, hey, can we use a field one afternoon from 4 to 5 or 4 to 5:30 for a tryout for Ellis Middle School or whatever, or Station Camp. So or Knox Doss actually did this past year, because obviously they have the volunteer parks out there beside the school, so that worked out for them to use for a one-day tryout. But other than that, we haven't gotten to the point to where middle school soccer is using our fields. It's probably coming. There's a lot of middle school stuff, baseball, softball, but as you know, middle school softball or middle school soccer is not a recognized sport. So as far as park school agreement, it's not something we can say, oh yeah, you should come on and play. It's just essentially a club sport. But anyway, so we've had some discussions about that, but that's the only school that plays is the HHS, and that's under the park school agreement. So they don't pay to play at the field. They don't pay for field for their playing their season. Neither does baseball or Hendersonville High School softball or beach softball or tennis or cross country or any of them.
We've talked about this before, but how do these line up with places close to us? Murfreesboro, Franklin, that kind of thing?
Well, actually, Murfreesboro, we were about the same as Murfreesboro before. We'll probably be close to the same now with the partnership with the groups.
Okay.
If you counted the field fee, the $125 per field per day for baseball or softball example, I'll use those. And then you take on, okay, if we got 50 teams and we're going to pay Civitan $50 a team, so that then we're above like the Murfreesboros. And and to be honest, Murfreesboro is hosting a lot of, that's a good comparison because they host a lot of tournaments, a lot of baseball, softball tournaments, a lot of baseball tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good comparison. There was some discussion had about that. But now, dropping this fee and still keeping that partnership, it's pretty much, we're right on board with them. Clarksville, city of Clarksville is higher than these are. When you guys had passed this in 2014, we had done a study of about 20 other cities, and Clarksville was higher. City of Franklin was higher. Goodlettsville was a little bit below us, but honestly, Goodlettsville don't host many things. They don't host.
Yeah.
They don't host a tenth of what we host. Now they have less facilities, so it's
Okay. All right, so on these, do we need a motion to repair this? Is that correct? This is just an extension of the other one, right?
This is just a revision proposal. It's what you all had approved, and these are proposed revised fees, and this is.
To replace the other one?
Yes, sir.
I see. Okay. A motion to accept? Mr. Head, second. Mr. Bowler, any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Done, son. Okay. School event policy, this is Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kind of on the same token, I'd spoke with some of the folks here tonight and some other folks in our office. At the same time, we talked about the fee changes a few years ago, or around that time, the school policy, how many events a school could host. Because if you remember several years ago, schools, they would have these big events in the park, softball and baseball, mainly those two sports, and they weren't paying anything. So this is kind of where we got to. They come in, we said, okay, it's this much for a 3-day tournament and this much for a 4 to 5 day tournament, and you can have 2 of these per season as fundraisers. So it was beneficial for those groups because they could raise money, and it was beneficial to the city because they could bring in a ton of traffic. So with that being said, they can host more events, just at that rate, they could only host 2. So fast forward now, our fall season's not as busy as our spring season. So we were approached and discussed having an additional school event at that rate for these schools in the fall. I don't know who all will take advantage of it. They all may take advantage of it. Any of the schools that, we work with, with the high schools, and basically Hendersonville and Beach has the tournaments now. But so if they want to have an additional event, we could work them into the schedule, which I feel we can, then they can have an additional event. It's probably a win-win. It drives traffic to the city. We have some time. We finish up early October. There's still a lot of good weather left. They want to do something. So, we're as far as staff goes, we're good with it. We can work it in the schedule. So it's just up to you all to make the change.
Questions? Mr. White?
I have a question, and it's just to throw it out there to help me maybe see what we're looking at as far as, we say they can do 2 events, and now we're increasing it to 3 events. What's the benefit to limiting it to 3? And my thought there is, if there is a discount to it, would it lend schools to bringing even more events in if they got the discounted rate, and they wouldn't, if they might hesitate on a fall iffy weather, maybe they lost one in the spring.
Oh, it happens.
And it does happen that they lose an entire huge fundraiser in the spring. I just, only 3, I'm all for these facilities being used all the time, and it benefits these schools if that would help. I
have no issues with that. The only thing I think that would hold them up, well, in the busy season, in the fall not as much, but the only thing that would hold them up from having more than 2 in the spring season is probably what is already on the books. Maybe not, to a certain extent, because there's other people hosting tournaments. So, for example, Hendersonville High School softball, they have the Commando Classic in March, 3rd week of March, and then they have either early March or late February, they have a middle school tournament. Well, if you start going into April, you've got not only our league play, then you've got, Game 7 baseball, and you've got GMB baseball or USSSA softball. So, now in the fall, if they wanted to have, of course, we have a busy fall. Our fall season, baseball, softball-wise, is almost as much as in the spring. But there's probably some more dates they could do it. It's only, at the end of the day, it's not like we're taking the money, from that we're getting in and we're spending it. It's going to the general fund. So at the end of the day, the biggest impact on the city is not that money. It's the economic impact. It's the gas and the groceries and the eating out and the going to the movies and the shopping and all that. So if they can get teams in here, I think it'll be a win-win. Fill up hotel rooms. We got hotels here now, new hotels. So as long as we can fit them in and make everybody happy, which we can always do that. We make them all happy every time. I don't mind it.
what I'm seeing, as I read through this, I thought that, rather than setting a limit, we just set a school fee. And that way, then schools would be able to, if they did have 2 or 3 possible events in the fall, they wouldn't have to just choose one. If they could pull 2 off, given availability and everything else.
Right.
That they could have a pretty serious economic impact to the community.
Well, the fee's already set. The fee's already there that you all passed. So.
But it's limited to 2, right? Am I wrong?
It's limited to 2, but if you might make some motion to, open it up to have 6,
Yeah.
It's really at the end of the day, but just because you say, or you could say, well, we just make a motion it's unlimited, but at the end of the day, it's going to be on the staff, me, myself, the people we're working with out here, Dallas, Keith, to make that work. So that's kind of where we're going with it. So,
I believe, I think I agree with Mr. White. I think availability is going to be the big thing.
Yeah.
And that way you can address that at the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
So,
You want to make a motion to that effect? sir?
Well,
I'm
hang
sorry,
on,
go ahead, Mr.
before we make a motion. The devil's advocate here, let's say we make it unlimited or we make it up to 3 or 4, or whatever we make that number. What can we do or not do? Because let's say, hey, all of a sudden we make it 3 in the fall, or a total of 5, from preventing somebody coming in and grabbing all the available dates, and then the other school over here can't ever get in the park. Isn't that part of the reason why you put 2 in the fall or spring to begin with, was to be able to allow everybody to use the facility? So if you make it unlimited, then it's first come, first serve, and then there's going to be a school left out in the code, and then there's going to be somebody knocking on the door, hey, I don't, you know.
well, the way the policy reads, it's not, well, actually, the way it reads is there's no limitation to the events. What it is when this was voted in, it's limiting the events at the school rate. Because I think, Coach Gillies here, he helps with the baseball team, and Civitan, they host more than 2 tournaments, but they have 2 at the school rate. And they can pick, in the way it works, it's easy for us. They can choose which ones they want to use. We don't care. We don't put a limit on which tournament that is. So it's not that we're limiting, the events are not limited. It's at the school rate. So, right now it's 2. If you say, hey, we're going to do 5 at the school rate, so not hypothetically, but the events that they were, and at the end of the day, you have a special event calendar in front of you. It's pretty much going to police itself, because there's so many things on this calendar, it's jammed full. Excel's going to run out of lines. Microsoft Excel, I don't know if it's,
And I could, TSSAA limits the number of events that a school can run in a season as well.
So we're pretty much back to where we started again.
Well,
That make sense?
well, like I said, there's not a limit on the events. The limit was on the events at the school rate, because we've never put a limit on the events.
Okay.
Because
So this
I
motion,
can tell you now, there's other events, and I'll use Coach Gillies here, and he's welcome to get up and speak if he'd like. If you want to suspend the rules, you can do that. But he can speak on this, because I think he'd be well versed to speak on it. But we've not limited the number of events. If they have 2, if he has a USSSA softball tournament and then their JV tournament, and I'll just use, as he's walking up here, I'll just use those. And he says, I'm going to use these as my school events, because I can do a lot of fundraising, and I'm going to use these 2, so we have to pay less. If he wants to have 3 more and the schedule allows it, then we work it in. And because for us, it's a win-win. Park fills up, city fills up, and then I get
I'm going to
complaints about
suspend the
traffic,
rules
and
for
we go from there.
clarification. If you want to speak to that, that'd be fine.
Thank you for looking in.
Just for the record.
Andy Gilly.
Yes, sir.
I'm speaking as a coach at Hendersonville High School tonight. How this kind of came in my brain, honestly, because we have had several requests for events in the fall, and we've only been able to have 2 events at the school rate. That it's just not, it was not worth the gamble. I would love to have been able to tell somebody, hey, we can have your tournament big event, you can pay this rate, and you can partner with us in the Civitan Club, but I would love to hold that for you, but it's not worth the gamble to do that. When you know for sure the weather's probably going to be better in the summertime, or what, you just try to pick the best events that you can at that point. The unlimited part does not, in my opinion, if you went unlimited or you went 5, whatever, and y'all have made the point, the schedule is pretty full already. I don't think, and there has, I mean, Brandon could speak to this better than anybody. I don't think the office is getting hammered with requests from other schools or other, like, I don't know, example, beach baseball team has not made one request to host a tournament in our park ever. Maybe they do. I hope they do. And I mean, and then if they do, then you're bound probably by the school park agreement to let them come in here and host one. But I don't think the calendar is going to dramatically increase all of a sudden, because it's about maxed out to begin with every weekend. But what would increase is the ability of the groups. Let's just say our dugout club at Hendersonville partners with Civitan, which we do a lot for events. Half the check, if it's not a school rate event, half the check is going to the city's general fund, when it could be maybe going towards park improvements, which I think every group sitting in here, from soccer to Civitan and everybody, has proven that they will invest back. I look at Coach Plummer at Hendersonville Soccer as a good example. He has 2 school-sponsored events. He has a boys tournament in the fall and a girls tournament in the spring. So within one calendar year, that's his 2 events. Well, if he has a 3rd one or a 4th one, now he can go to Tennessee United or Hendersonville Rec Soccer and perhaps partner with them to give them the school rate and help making a stadium improvement or something like that out of it, if that makes any sense.
It does.
That's kind of where, in my mind, that was where that was coming from. It just became, you want to pick the best tournament with the most teams to use your school rate, obviously. But it's hard to project the future.
Exactly.
So anyway, I hope that maybe
I think it helps some.
gave
Yes,
you a
sir.
little bit of clarification anyway.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Any motions, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I'll make the motion that, that we set this school rate for unlimited events and let the calendar police what's available, but that it provides the incentive to the schools to get as many events as possible into the park, given the time constraints.
Second. Mr. Head, second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, Rogers? Yes, Mr. Rogers.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Board. As you see, the reports for each staff members in your packet. I've got a couple things here. I'll be quick. As some of you may or may not know, we do have a job opening in the Parks Department. Our special event program supervisor is open. Miss Anglia, she gave us 10.5 good years, and she left last week. So we wish her well. She had a new opportunity, and we're excited for her. So,
Good.
as you also noticed, maybe at Veterans Park, we have some water issues over there. We had a main line bust. We're actually having to reroute the main water line and the electrical, because it's going to be running underneath Mary's Magical Place. So we're having to get it out from under that. I mean, obviously, nobody could plan for that. Never knew that was coming. So we're having to move all that, and that's a pretty big project we're having to contract out. We also discovered we've got a big water leak at Drakes Creek Park. We discovered this today, going back to soccer. It's a main line that it actually was leaking into the creek. There is no telling how long we just discovered it this afternoon. We knew about it and had a leak company come out. I'll give you a report on it. It's going back to that main line, goes back to soccer. But anyway, nobody knew about it because it was leaking into the I don't see the water bills, but I got a last one. They said, "Oh, you may want to look at this," and we checked into it. So that's job security. The trick or treat event we had at Drakes Creek Park in October went great. It was big. There was a lot of people in this room were involved. We appreciate that. Appreciate you getting the word out. We'll make some changes for next year, and but it'll hopefully be bigger and better next year. I think the weather couldn't have been better, and so appreciate the support on that. The event season, speaking of events, starts less than a month. We've got a college softball tournament mid-February, so I think there's 15 teams or so in that. The event list, I gave it as a handout. There was one that I was just informed yesterday. I think we may get July. It was the Tennessee Game 7 World Series. I know it may be still ongoing, but so that's a big one. So July is July, the whole spring and summer's jammed with a lot of stuff, but July, which used to not be very busy, is really busy. So lots of big things in July. But anyway, overall, looks like another busy spring and summer, so we're excited about that. The maintenance guys might not say as much, but that's okay. They do a really good job. So another thing I wanted to mention, and I mentioned earlier with Ms. Kemp about this being her last report for financials. A couple months ago, Keith and I met with the Civitan group and Anthony Stratton, who's not here tonight, but Anthony's the fast pitch. He's the director of the Fast Pitch League, heads that up, and Civitan will actually be taking that over. They're going to be taking over. Anthony's going to stay on board, and he'll still run a lot of things, but they're taking over the financials, and they'll be the same as they do with baseball or football and all the others. They'll be assisting in that. So they've got a good board, a lot of help, and I think it'll be a weight off Pam's back. And Anthony was very welcoming to the help, so we're appreciative that they want to step in and do that. I was just looking at the gross sales for concession, and I think it was $220-something thousand just for those two concessions, just for baseball and softball. That doesn't count hockey, that doesn't count soccer. So as you can see, there's a lot going on, so there's a lot to it. That's the end of my report.
Thank you very much. Any questions, Mr. Rogers? You're the star tonight, Mr. Rogers, in
There we go.
round table,
One
Ms.
hour
Bourget.
exactly.
Mr. Bowler?
I will try not to take a lot of time with this. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the courage and commitment it takes for citizens to bring themselves up and to speak in front of us. All right, I understand you've got a real passion. You're going to take that kind of effort to come here and do this. Now, having said that, I'm a big advocate about not wanting to micromanage the people that are here in the running programs. The Hendersonville Soccer Club had a pretty major issue, and they were able to self-police themselves, come back hopefully bigger and stronger than they were. One of the things that struck me with some of these reports was lacrosse talked about a team they had brought up that lost every single game, and I couldn't hear a much more positive feel about the club, because for me, and this is a passion point of mine, ultimately for youth program, the way that I want to measure success is, did the kids learn something, right? But more importantly, did they have fun, and do they want to come back and play again? All right, and if you can check those off, it's an extremely successful season. So that's what I had.
Very nicely put, very nicely put. Mr. White?
A couple of questions, and Mr. Bertardi is sitting out here in the crowd, and he mentioned to me before the meeting started that there was an event I think he had that it's gotten misplaced. He's got it here. I don't know if this is the time to bring it up, if we discuss it now, or it would have fallen under new business, I guess. I don't know if that's something we can talk about now, or are you aware of there's an event that...
What event are we talking about?
There's an event that he wanted to do, I think, in the summer at one of the fields. And I don't know if that's something that we can bring him up and talk about.
Well, I mean, it'd be especially if it's a new event.
Yeah, we can suspend the rules right now.
Well, if he wants to come up and speak about it, I mean, we don't have any, to my knowledge. Now, I don't know if there's any paperwork's been submitted. So if you want to suspend the rules, let him come to Mike and field questions and just.
Give you a couple minutes if you got it, all right.
Thank you. Jamie Bertotti. I'm with Tennessee United Soccer Club. The event that we referenced, special events application was turned in around December 5th for a team camp. Exact dates, we're looking for July 30th through August 2nd. Followed up last week, unbeknownst, the special events coordinator was not in the office, and got a phone call Friday that they were looking for it, but they didn't have it. And this is just something we wanted to try to get on the events calendar, just so if it was approved, we can get the timeliness onto our website so people can make plans for summer vacations and things like that. So I stopped by the office today. They still couldn't locate it. So I'd asked them, I just went ahead and redid another application event. So without hearing anything, which was kind of unusual for the time that we had turned it in to now that we didn't hear anything, was kind of unusual for the communication we normally receive. So
So you did turn this in to the
yes,
previous employee?
I believe it was December 5th or December 6th. So
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Go,
Brad,
no,
but
sure, go ahead.
I guess maybe reading ahead would have helped some too, because this special events calendar that you handed out has July 30th through August 2nd for
It's
the
on
Tennessee
there.
United Camp
Yeah.
on the schedule here. So,
It's on there.
Okay.
It's on there.
Yeah.
I was never given the paperwork, obviously, because it's not there. So this is, my, I guess my comments on this, obviously, and I'm not sure exactly, without having the paperwork, exactly how many fields you all would need, and obviously you can probably help me on that. We've discussed this in the past. If I'm not mistaken, one year this was held some at Memorial Park, or is that wrong?
portion of the camp.
Portion of the camp, because the majority of the camp is held, or all the camp is held at Moss Wright, correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Okay. I know, are you wanting to move the entire camp to Drakes Creek?
Yeah, for just our services
Okay.
and the lighting. Just
Okay.
Memorial Park is, we appreciate the effort. It's tough at times with the parking and
Oh, sure.
and the number of kids. The number of fields that are used really dictates by the number of kids that sign up. I mean, typically we run 300, 350 kids, we think. 4 nights a week, 5:30 to 8:30. But just with the facilities, having the restroom, the parking, and having one location to optimize trainers to be
Sure.
on site, not
Oh,
being
yeah.
split up. But the biggest thing is really, we try to offer something for our high school kids that are, we bring in college coaches to run what we call an ID camp. We're trying to get some of these kids exposed. So college coaches will come in, run these sessions, and try to ID these kids for potential play once they're through high school. and
Is
try to
this
get
all
recognized.
high school players?
No, it'll be for roughly U9 through.
Okay.
Up through. So just trying to keep everybody together in-house and.
And you said it's 4 days? 3
Yes,
days?
we do 4, and we do Friday as a makeup day if.
Okay.
If need be.
Well, from staff standpoint, I mean, from availability, that's during our summer shutdown, so the fields are open. We've always had a summer shutdown, and me and Jamie, we've beat our heads against each other, trying to argue about summer shutdown. Obviously, I think they would agree, soccer, HSC would agree, the summer shutdown is needed. But, there's always exceptions, and Tennessee United has always been good to us, and I don't see why we couldn't, my personal opinion, let them look at doing this. I wish I'd had the paperwork. But that's okay. I mean, it's okay. It's on the form. Obviously, former employee filled this form out, and it was not in the packet, and I printed it out last minute. So, from my standpoint, the fields are available. That's a very slow time of year in the park, so it's not gonna, and I think it's usually 5:30 to 8:30 that time. So I knew we'd had some discussions about it, but and I don't really see any sense, me personally, in waiting until the February ParksBoard meeting, because I know they have to plan accordingly and get all this stuff out online, because schools, and not schools, but teams are planning their tournament season and what they're going to do. So, and I think we open up usually if that's July 30th, it's a Monday. Is that a Monday?
Yeah.
Usually we open up that following Monday. So, with both groups, and I don't think the HSC even starts that early. You may even start later, maybe close. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. So I'll let you know.
Has this already been voted on, and it's just hadn't been anything?
No.
No, and
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming we've brought this up and suspended the rules for him to come up
Yes,
here. I'm
we did,
assuming we
yes.
can
Yes,
make a
we
motion and vote on this.
Yes, we can.
Because, you know, I understand having the dead period and letting the fields recover. But I also, on the flip side of that, you know, we've talked about having the kids in the parks again, and these are Hendersonville Soccer Club and Tennessee United's fields. I don't think anything would be done to jeopardize them.
No, and the biggest, one thing we do need to get sorted out, and we don't have to do it tonight, but we have a fee for, like, when they have camps, like when they have their individual camp, it's $5 a camper. Or when the Hendersonville high schools and whoever else has their camp, baseball or softball or soccer or whatever, it's $5 a camper. This is a little different because it's a team camp, so we'll have to talk about that, but I don't want to sit here and split hairs. As far as the event itself, from a Parks Department standpoint, we have the availability and the space, and I know they're not going to jeopardy. If we have weather, you know, we could have some rain, obviously. It's a pretty dry time of year. We could have usually if we get rain, it's hard rain, it stops. It's not a soaking rain that time of year, but, you know, we can adjust accordingly. They got a rain day in there, so.
And what is this called?
It's a Tennessee United Soccer Club team camp.
Okay. All right, since we've suspended those things, I'm gonna put that back under new business if you want to make a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve this event.
Second, Mr. Head, any more discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No. Okay. That'll go back under the new business bullet up here.
Thank you.
No problem, buddy. Mr. Head?
Yeah, I'd like to make a couple comments. First, Brandon, I can't wait till next Halloween. Lord. That was tremendous. I went back to Kroger's and probably bought about another $100 worth of candy for our booth from Wendy's. So looking forward to bigger and better things next year. So that was an awesome event. I mean,
it was good.
You gotta be, if you wasn't there, you got to be there next year.
We had a
Bring
lot
your
of people
business,
involved.
everything.
Not only were our staff involved from the administration staff in the office, but a lot of our maintenance staff was involved, and they enjoyed it. Actually, Kip Smith with Tri-Green Equipment actually let us borrow 2 brand-new tractors to pull our hay rides with, which was awesome. And, you know, so a lot of our maintenance staff was involved, and they had a blast. And, you know, they don't have much input when it comes to stuff like that, but after that, they did. And so next year, we need to do this, and then I said, okay.
And then I just want to make one other comment. You know, I've had the pleasure to serve in many capacities in the park, from a coach, a parent, running concession stands, for 24, going on my 25th year. And I've seen a lot of things in the park over the years, and you know, we're not even into the season yet, and we're out of space. Okay, when it comes to people coming to the park, leagues growing. You've got record number in baseball for the last several years. Each year, it's matching or getting bigger. Flag football, wouldn't be surprised if there's 500 kids in there this year. Soccer continues to grow. Lacrosse is growing. Every sport's growing, and I think that goes to the leadership of every organization that participates in the leagues in the park, and the leadership of the Parks Department and the Parks Board. So, you know, I think the parks are in better shape than they ever been in the 25 years that I've been in the system. So, and that goes with all the leagues and everything. Yeah, we have our good days and bad days, and nobody's perfect. But the one thing we can always use is if you think there can be something better or something different, get involved. Go find a group, go find what's going on, get involved. Be a coach, be a parent, be a volunteer. There's never enough.
Amen. Amen. We're asking Mr. Rogers not to go to the Halloween thing because he scares the children, so.
I'm going to scare my children.
Motion to adjourn. Mr. White, second, Mr. Head, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? Nobody, we're out of here.